All right, what's going on, guys? Farzing Vazugin here with you on a Sunday. This is now take two for the pregame live chat. Had a little technical issue. Let's hope that the second time around this is working out. It is a big game today, Chiefs Bills. Hopefully the live streams are gonna work just fine today because for whatever reason, it crashed last time and we're only on for just a few seconds. Okay, I see I'm on. So hopefully we have some people who will come into the chat in just a moment here. Let me just watch on my end. So I'm seeing it on my end. If you guys hear me, see me, please say something just so we know we're on this time because for whatever reason we crashed last time. I'm seeing people are watching, so I would assume that's a good thing. But yes, Chiefs Bills today. The Chiefs going to visit Buffalo, hostile environment. Kansas City undefeated in Buffalo, but obviously that does not matter for today's game. The Chiefs and Bills, a lot of people feel like these are the two best teams in the AFC. Some would argue the Ravens maybe deserve to be a part of that discussion, but this right here does determine a lot for Kansas City in terms of their chances of getting the 1 seed. The Bills definitely need to win this to have an opportunity for the 1 seed. This is a big game. This is a big game. Bob says hello. Okay. If you guys, yes, I'm seeing people tune in, so I think that means we're live, we're loud, we're good. Buffalo has a really good defense here, especially against the run. They're also in the top 10 in points per game allowed, so I think that's one of those things Kansas City needs to be ready for, because last week, if you told me Kansas City was going to score 16 points, I think a lot of people would have said that the Chiefs were going to lose that football game. But I think every single time we see the Chiefs play, we do learn something. Maybe it's not always good things, but during this 16-game win streak, the Chiefs have been involved in a lot of close games. The only games that have not been one-possession games, the Miami Dolphins playoff game, the Saints game on Monday night this year, and the 49ers game. I think that's it. Every other game has been a close one-score game. And when you look at the Chiefs right now, I just saw something weird happen on the Facebook. For whatever reason, it just like skipped the whole thing. So if you guys, let me know if you guys can hear, see me, or if there are any technical issues with the audio, or if it's skipping. I do need to know that. I would appreciate if you guys let me know, because I'm kind of multitasking here. But anyway, we always learn that the Chiefs, they've been involved in so many close games, some of them low-scoring games, and a lot of people would probably feel uncomfortable in those situations. But the Chiefs, not the Chiefs, they feel pretty good about these kinds of games right here. They don't mind going into these kinds of games where it is going to be a battle coming down to the wire. It is going to be a struggle on both sides. Maybe people feel like Kansas City should be much better than this, but again, you're going to get every team's best shot. Everything's good. You guys here? Okay, great. Yeah, the reason I keep asking this is because this is actually our second attempt at the live for doing the live stream, and let's just say it crapped out. But if you guys say so, I believe you guys. So I'll take your guys' word for it. It's weird on my end, but if it's good on your end, who cares about my end? Honestly, the Chiefs are comfortable in these situations, though. They don't care if it's going to be a 13-10 game, a 16-14 game that ends in a blocked field goal that you desperately needed to keep your undefeated season going. The Chiefs are always going to be in these situations because you're going to get every team's best shot. Everyone wants to be Kansas City. If they don't win the Super Bowl, well, at least they can say they won against Kansas City. Isn't that what Raiders fans essentially did? Until, Chiefs fans reminded them they won in Allegiant Stadium, the Super Bowl, that is. So this is one of those situations where, again, if you're Kansas City, you're going to be involved in a tight battle probably again today. And keep in mind, Kansas City probably should have won by 10 points. Last time these two teams played in Buffalo in that divisional round. I know Buffalo fans love to remind Chiefs fans the only reason the Chiefs won that game is because Tyler Bass missed the kick. Yeah, only because Tyler Bass missed the kick. Let's ignore the fact that Josh Allen missed a wide open receiver in the end zone 2 plays before that. Let's ignore the fact that McCole Hardman fumbled into the end zone inside the 5-yard line, which, the Chiefs, if they weren't getting cute in that short series of events there, they probably would have won by 10 points. At least they go up by 2 possessions in the fourth quarter. That would have been massive. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think that the Bills scored in the fourth quarter of this game. The last time the Chiefs and Bills played. I'll double check on that just to make sure. But that was, the Chiefs scored a touchdown. The Bills did not score a single point in the fourth quarter of that game. Yeah, that's right. So Kansas City's going to be involved in a tight battle here. Not everything's going to be pretty. Not everything's going to go your way, but that's the way these kinds of games will go. In the rare event the Chiefs have a one-sided victory in this one, I think a lot of people are definitely going to back off against Kansas City, especially when you're 10-0. I mean, you should already stop doubting this team when they're 6-0, 7-0, 8-0, 9-0 now, tying the franchise best start ever. But for whatever reason, people just don't want, and I get it. And people were this way with the Patriots dynasty for a very long time. People were this way with the Lakers dynasty when Shaq and Kobe were together. People were this way for the Golden State Warriors dynasty. So I get it. I know this Chiefs dynasty is getting a lot of comparisons to Golden State and to New England's, and rightfully so. A lot of people want to see those teams go down. I think I remember a few years ago, there was, I always love these kinds of reports. An anonymous general manager was wishing for injury on the Golden State Warriors. It's like, okay, you're basically complimenting them. You're basically letting them know that this team cannot be beat, and you have to wish for injuries to occur so that way someone else can have a chance. Well, what I say in the offseason, the only thing that could really stop Kansas City is injuries. Well, there were a lot of injuries this year, and they're still going. Most recently to Harrison Butker. We'll see how that pans out. But for right now, the injuries have not been enough to hand you a loss this season. Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, Isaiah Pacheco, who's expected to come back very soon. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is yet to play this year. I mean, the Chiefs have overcome a lot of obstacles this season. Injuries have been a big one. They've played some tough teams, and some teams that maybe were not expected to compete against Kansas City. They come down to the wire, but the Chiefs still find a way to win. And something that I was thinking about earlier today, too, and I've said this before, it's not my first time saying this, but you're starting to see some teams give their best effort in a close game. Teams like Baltimore, teams like Cincinnati, teams like Denver, Tampa Bay. I mean, you're seeing teams play their best football they can in a close competitive game. And it's the Chiefs who come out on top. The Chiefs just come away with these big moments. In that Cincinnati game, Burrow fumbling and then committing the pass interference penalty. Lamar Jackson. I know people with the Ravens game, they just want to talk about the toe. Well, Lamar Jackson also missed the wide open Zay Flowers on the play before that. Lamar Jackson also was trying to throw the ball to a wide open player in the end zone before halftime, but Leo Chenal batted that pass down. To go back to the Bengals game, everyone wants to talk about that pass interference call, but no one wants to talk about the fact that Burrow, his fumble was probably the bigger difference maker in that one. If you don't fumble in that situation or take a sack on the final time you possess the football, Kansas City probably does not win that football game. So, yeah, the Chiefs have been involved in a lot of close games this year. Again, people want to talk about Atlanta and how there was a missed pass interference penalty there. Well, the Falcons got the ball back, and they got 3 consecutive penalties in favor of their offense. And then what do they do on 4th and inches of all things? They run the worst run play you could have called. And credit to Kansas City, they went out there and they blew that up in the backfield, pushing them back 3 to 4 yards. So Kansas City is going to be involved in a lot of these close games. And as stressful as it is from the fan standpoint, from the coach's standpoint, they're not stressed out. They've been in these situations before. I know the Minnesota Vikings a couple of years ago, I think they had like a really impressive record in one-score games. I think they were 10-0 or 11-0, winning a lot of these games. And then what happens to Minnesota in the playoffs? They lose to Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones had the best game of his life against the Minnesota Vikings. So the Vikings team that went undefeated in one-score games, they lose a close game in the playoffs. Now, I'm not here to compare Kansas City to Minnesota because we know Minnesota, that's a team that, I mean, they're trying to get something going with their franchise, whereas the Chiefs, they're coming off back-to-back Super Bowl wins. They're right now coming off 9 wins to open up the 2024 season. They've won 16 straight games dating back to New Year's Eve. So this is a football team that has found some of the weirdest ways to win. And they've trailed in a lot of these at least one time. I think I saw on ESPN today this morning. They mentioned that the Chiefs, they've trailed in every football game this year. Their point differential is the lowest for any team to start 9-0. Now, there aren't a lot of teams that have started 9-0, but of the teams that have, the Chiefs have the smallest margin of victory through 9 games. You know who's got the second smallest margin of wins? The 06 Colts. And what did that team do? Oh, yeah, they won the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. So this has been that type of year for Kansas City where maybe it's not as flashy, but and look, is there some burnout maybe with playing into February so many years? I don't think so. I mean, listen, it's a long off season, regardless if your season ends in early January or early February. I don't think Mahomes, Kelsey, Jones, McDuffie, all these guys, I don't think they're going to suddenly be tired because they play into late January or early February. Basically, every year since Patrick Mahomes has been a member of this franchise, excluding his rookie season when he was backing up Alex Smith. This is just a team that always finds a way. And you know what's another thing too? I've just kind of come around to this. I know a lot of people make a big deal about playing on a short week if you're on a Thursday, if you have a Thursday night football game. Kansas City this year has kind of a funky schedule where they have, I think, 3 games in 11 or 12 days. They have a Saturday game against the Texans, and then they play on Christmas against the Steelers. And a lot of Chiefs fans are kind of concerned about that, and they feel like that's going to work against them. Listen, I'm not saying the Chiefs are going to go undefeated during that 11 or 12-day stretch, but what I am saying is I don't think players today in the NFL really give a damn about that kind of thing. I mean, you want to give them several games in a short time span? I think players love that. I think they want to go out there and play more. They practice. I mean, listen, who loves practice? I know Travis Kelce every year says, man, I love training camp. Do you really? Do you really love training camp? Do you really? I mean, fans love it, but even fans are always, they're out there, especially in St. Joe, in the Midwest, sweltering heat. You're dealing with all that, the humidity, all that shit. They don't enjoy having to go through and wait through something big to happen. My point is this. I think the players just want to go out there and play. They don't care how many games you want to give them in a short time span. The Chiefs are ready for this. And again, you got a tough game today where you're playing a very good Buffalo Bills team. And listen, let me just say this. The one knock on Buffalo is this. They have not beaten a team with a winning record other than the Arizona Cardinals. And that was a week 1 game when Arizona, they're a young football team still trying to figure things out. They're playing good football right now. They really are. They're certainly taking advantage of their weak division, and as they should. That's what Buffalo's doing right now with their division. Kansas City is supposedly in a weak division, but somehow there are 2 other teams from the division also in the playoff picture right now. But when you look at Buffalo, what is their big win this season? What is that marquee win for them? Because they don't have one. If they beat the Chiefs, this certainly would be their marquee win of the season. But right now, I'm looking at Buffalo. Their strength of victory is 355. There are not a lot of teams that have a strength of victory less than that. You have the Chargers at 298. You have the Broncos at 306. You have the Bengals at 237. That's about it. You have Tennessee at 316 and Jacksonville at 350. So you don't have a lot of teams that have a strength of victory fewer than what Buffalo has. And of the teams who do, the Bengals, the Jaguars, the Titans, a majority of those teams are non-playoff teams. You got the Chargers and the Broncos right now. Those are 2 of the 3 wildcard teams in the AFC. But Buffalo, for a team that's 8-2 right now, they don't have any big games to write home about. Sure, they're blowing some teams out. Great. And you should never apologize for that. You should go out there and win, do what it takes to win. And if you're blowing teams out, great. But who have you really defeated? When they played the Ravens earlier this year, which, again, the Ravens right now, they're a wild card team that could change today if they beat the Steelers. I mean, the Ravens just mopped the floor with Buffalo. They absolutely just dominated that game on a Sunday night a few weeks ago. So Buffalo, even though I think Josh Allen is playing by far his best football, it's not necessarily the greatest competition. You look at that Indianapolis Colts game last week, Josh Allen was without Amari Cooper and Keon Coleman, he struggled in that one. He threw 2 interceptions, equating his season total from this season. He's got 4 this season now. It does sound like Amari Cooper will play today. We don't know that for 100% fact, but they will learn about the inactives in a couple of hours. But this is a football team that just hasn't had the marquee win this year. And again, maybe it comes today and they prove a lot of people wrong, including me, about the fact that they haven't beaten any good teams. But we'll have to see. I mean, Kansas City, on the other hand, they beat a couple of teams that are right now, all 3 of the wild card teams, Baltimore, LA, and Denver, Chiefs beat all 3 of them. And Baltimore is a team that could become a division leader if they win today against the Steelers. So we'll have to see that. That is starting in a little over 30 minutes, and that's going to be a big one. And if Baltimore wins, that absolutely helps Kansas City, which we haven't really talked about that yet. So the number 1 seed, again, that's a huge deal in the Chiefs-Bills game. If the Chiefs can take care of business and beat the Bills, which is going to come second, the other game, Baltimore and Pittsburgh, man, if Baltimore wins against Pittsburgh, Kansas City will have at least a 3-game advantage over everybody. They'll have a 4-game advantage over the Bills because the Bills will have they'll be on the wrong end of the tiebreaker against Kansas City. Baltimore's on the wrong end of the tiebreaker against Kansas City. The only other team you really would be concerned about would be Pittsburgh, because you've yet to play Pittsburgh, and if they beat you, they'll have the edge for the tiebreaker for the 1 seed, or maybe 2 seed if things go really wrong for Kansas City. But a lot would have to go wrong between now and then, with then being Christmas. So about almost a month away. This is a Kansas City team right now that has a lot of things going their way. They're not doing a lot of scoreboard watching. I mean, look at Baltimore, LA, Denver, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, maybe Miami if they can get going, maybe the Jets if they can get going. I mean, that's a team that's going to be doing a lot of scoreboard watching today and for the remainder of the season until, the math says they can't do it anymore. So if you're Kansas City, the only scoreboard you're really watching other than your own team is Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Pittsburgh's really the only team you have to be concerned about. And I've said this before. I'll say it again. Pittsburgh scares me more than Buffalo. They really do. I like Russell Wilson this year. I think he's playing much better football than he had when he was in Denver for those 2 seasons. And that Steelers defense, I know Pittsburgh historically has a very good defense. That's just always been the identity of the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise historically. No different this year. That defense is good. I'm a huge fan of TJ Watt. How can you not like anyone? If you do not like someone, and I don't care if you're a fan of a rival of the Texans or the Steelers, if you do not like anyone from the Watt family, something's wrong with you. Like they might be some of the most likable people in all of football. Play great football, do a lot of great things off the field, great people. You never hear a bad thing at all about any of the Watt family members. But that Steelers defense, that's the only one that scares me. That could be a team, the Chiefs. I know a lot of people think the Chiefs and Bills could play each other twice this year, and they might. I think the Steelers could be a team that we got to start paying attention to. I think the Steelers could actually visit the Chiefs. Not visit the Chiefs, but they'll meet the Chiefs twice this year, for sure. It would not surprise me. Kansas City, Houston was my AFC Championship prediction. I don't think that's the case anymore. Houston is kind of on a downward slope right now, and they have not looked good. They've lost their last 2 games, I think, and the injuries are kind of impacting them in a negative way. So I don't know if Houston is really going to be as good. I mean, listen, we'll see. They have time to recover, get some of their players back, and try to get going in the second half of the season. But right now, they're just not looking too good. I think Pittsburgh is more of a threat and a potential candidate to visit Kansas City for the AFC Championship game. So even if they lose today, and I know they would become a wild card team, I still think Pittsburgh has a chance to recover, and that's a team that the Chiefs would still need to be concerned about in not just the playoffs, but also the Christmas game, because that game comes first. For today's game, I saw someone mention Butker being out of this game and how that could impact Kansas City. Here's my thing. when you look at the kicking situation right now, by the way, if you haven't had a chance to look at Spencer, just go look up Jets versus Cardinals highlights, because Spencer Schrader played last week for the Jets. He made a 25-yarder and a 45-yard field goal. He barely made both of them. Yeah. That does not give me a lot of confidence in a game where between the Chiefs and Bills, where the team that makes the fewest mistakes wins. I don't have, listen, no disrespect to Spencer Schrader. He can kick a field goal way better than I ever will. But for this game, I'm not too confident in that kicking game right now. I'm just not. I'm really, really not. So I think today, the biggest key, and if you saw my 3 keys earlier today, you'll know this. My 3 keys, the number 1 key, convert on third down. Third down is going to be very monumental in this football game, more so for Kansas City than Buffalo, because Kansas City has the best third down offense in the NFL. And the Bills, they're ranked 21st in stopping teams on third down. The Chiefs are converting on 52% of their third down plays. We have not seen an NFL team convert on 52% of their third downs since 2021. And that was Kansas City in 2021. So, again, we don't see a lot of teams that have this high of a third down success rate. I know a lot of people want to make a big deal about Kansas City's offense not being where it should be. Well, if you look at the stats, you'll see the high interception numbers for Mahomes. Kelsey's numbers, at least early on in the season, weren't great. But that does not tell the story. I know there are a lot of box score readers and people who do that think they know all football when that's really not how it works. If you actually watch these games, Patrick has done some things this season that don't show up on the stat sheet, especially on third down. Third down, I mean, Kansas City was very good on third down against Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay doesn't have a good defense, but that night, they were giving Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs offense some challenges in that game. So Kansas City, just the way they've played on third down this season, very good, 52%. Now on fourth down, Kansas City has the 3rd best fourth down offense. Buffalo has the 5th best fourth down defense. Kansas City's converted on 8 of 9 fourth downs this season. They don't go for it on fourth down often compared to other teams, but when they do, they succeed every single time except for one time. And I can't, when was that one time the Chiefs did not go? Oh, I remember. That was a silly one. The offense was not even on the field, actually. Now that I think about it, that was against San Francisco. I think on the first drive of the game, where the Chiefs ran a terrible play on 3rd and 1, and on 4th and 1, they go for a fake punt and they can't get it. That is the only failed fourth down conversion the Chiefs have this year. That's the only failed fourth down conversion, and that was not even on the offense. That was on the special teams unit. So. This Chiefs offense, they're 8 of 8 on fourth downs. I did not realize that. I didn't think about that until now. So that is definitely going to be, Steve has a very good point. Got to limit Josh Allen running forward. I mentioned some of Josh Allen's stats running the football this year. He is tied 2nd in rushing touchdowns among QBs. And he's got 261 rushing yards on the season. So you're absolutely right about that, Steve. That is something that you got to give that task to Nick Bolton, who's very good at that. Drew Tranquil, Leo Chenal. I mean, that's obviously, listen, forget about the blocked field goal, because I know that's what a lot of people are talking about right now with Leo Chenal. But in terms of defensively, what Leo Chenal's done, Leo Chenal's played some really good football this year. He really has. And I think Kansas City's got to use him more in a situation where they feel like they might need him to go out there and help the defense and not let Josh Allen go out there and get some big play. You know, another guy you got to really account for, no one really talks about him, even though they should, is James Cook. James Cook, very good. He's a major threat in the red zone. This guy's got 8 touchdowns on the ground this year. That is tied for 3rd most in the NFL. In terms of red zone touchdowns, he's got 9 red zone touchdowns. All 8 of his rushing touchdowns are in the red zone. He has another touchdown in the red zone through the air. He's got the 5th most touchdowns in the red zone this year of any player. So this is going to be a situation where, you know, the Chiefs, their defense has to be ready for. And listen, Kansas City's defense has been very good this year against the run. I mean, Kansas City, what are they? They're third against the run. They have not allowed a running back go for 100 yards this year or even close to it. I mean, they kept Derrick Henry in check. I can't remember the running back for the Chargers, but they held him in check. Alvin Kamara was in check. I mean, the Chiefs have gone up against some really, really good running backs this year, and none of them have really been able to do much against Kansas City. None of them. No one's been able to do anything. And the most impressive one this year was against the Raiders. And I know the Raiders have a terrible offense, but they picked off Patrick Mahomes. They got the ball to the 5-yard line, and they tried to run the football inside the 5. They had 4 opportunities, and they couldn't do anything. And on 4th and goal from like the 1 or the 2, they decide to pass, and they immediately get taken down for the sack. Guys like Treshaun Wharton, George Karlaftis, Chris Jones, I mean, they've done a really good job, not just getting pressure. And I know the Chiefs don't get a lot of sacks. They have the 7th fewest sacks, as a matter of fact, but they do a really good job stopping the run. Derek Nottie, part of that as well. Mike Pennell, and also the linebackers, the support they provide for the defensive line there. The linebackers are helping the defensive line, and the defensive line, they're helping the linebackers. I mean, that is a teamwork unit right there up front with that Chiefs defense. The Chiefs might have the best defensive front in the NFL. I mean, what's better than the Chiefs defensive front? I can't think of one right now. And again, I know the sack totals are not there this year compared to last year, but they're getting the pressures. And I know the Bills, I think they've allowed the fewest sacks this season, but they might be without Spencer Brown. And Spencer Brown, that's the guy who is the most penalized right tackle in football this season. But if he's not there, George Karlaftis could have a field day, and I'm sure they'll line up Chris Jones against that backup right tackle, because Kansas City loves to move around Chris Jones, something Spags loves to do. I have a lot of confidence in Spags in this game. I trust Spags to go out there and come up with some things. I know Josh Allen, I think Alex Smith said this today on ESPN this morning. Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the NFL right now when it comes to passing against pressure. So when he's under pressure, he does a lot of good things. It's things that Mahomes was doing first couple of years when he started in the NFL. So those are some important things to be aware of here. I have a lot of confidence in the Chiefs in this game, though. I really do. I really do. Listen, we know Andy Reid a lot of times when he wins a coin toss, he every single time will defer. But the Chiefs do not do a very good job starting off in the second half. I mean, get off to a better start in the second half, because if you're up by 3 at halftime, or even if the game's tied, a touchdown to open up the second half can really change the direction of a football game, and that can really start to mess with Buffalo, even though they're the home team. So I really hope Kansas City can come out strong in the second half, because that's something they have struggled with this season. They only had 1 touchdown last week, and that was on a 4th down play. So you're not going to win doing that unless the defense plays even better. And I think the defense, they'll be good today, but they'll have their struggles and their issues as well. You're not going to go the entire game not allowing a touchdown. That's just, if that happens, I will buy one of you guys a Chris Jones jersey if the Chiefs do not allow a touchdown. There, screen recorded. Do whatever you got to do to hold me accountable. But I'll stick to that if the Chiefs do not allow a touchdown. If they allow field goals, fine. Touchdowns. No touchdowns allowed. We're giving away a Chris Jones jersey there, and I'll do it on Facebook, because I know a lot of you guys are asking, why am I not doing a lot of Facebook giveaways? Facebook's kind of strict on that kind of thing. Yeah. We'll find a way. We'll pull a Bill Belichick. We'll just do that. Yeah, that's a really good point by Dalton. We talked about this earlier in the week as well with Juju coming back. We haven't even mentioned Juju or Xavier Worthy today. Not even DeAndre Hopkins. We've mentioned Chris Jones. Travis Kelce, who's played much better lately. But Juju coming back, that's huge, because then DeAndre Hopkins, he's going to have more one-on-one situations. Travis Kelce's going to have more one-on-one battles. Juju's going to have some one-on-one battles. And I think you're going to get Worthy in some one-on-one situations there. Look, Deb says, I think Worthy will get the long one today. I hope so. But, man, they just have not connected on those deep passes there. They've kind of been slow on that the past couple of games. If it's not there, take a step back a bit. It's okay. You don't have to take that deep shot if it's not working. Xavier Worthy, that guy's capable of creating separation. And if Mahomes can, I know he has some issues with the left tackle spot. Yeah, I see your comment, Elaine, about the offensive line. Patrick Mahomes, he just needs that little time right there, not too long, to get the ball to an open player here. I would love to see a situation where the Chiefs are in the red zone, especially like inside the 10 in a goal line situation, essentially, where they have they've got no one in the backfield. If you have someone in the receiver slot closest to the offensive line, closest to the right tackle, Jawan Taylor, essentially, find a way to go on a slant inside. Kelsey basically does a little zig where he fakes to the right, then pulls into the left, because that'll take away a linebacker, and Kelsey will have a wide open touchdown. That's exactly what they did against Denver last week to get Kelsey his touchdown. Not the exact formation that I was suggesting, but a very similar play they drew up to get Kelsey a very easy touchdown there. The only touchdown Kansas City had in that game. So, yeah, the deep passes scare me too. They've got to be much better about that, 100%. Worthy TD to show the Bills they made a mistake. Oh, see, I forgot about that. If you get a deep pass touchdown between Mahomes and Worthy, oh, Buffalo's going to melt. Bills Mafia, they are going to sink and play that violin. Oh, I forgot about that, Eric. That's a really good call. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens there. Okay, we've been on for 30 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Hey, reminder, come back at halftime. We will do the halftime live stream. We will recap the first half between the Chiefs and the Bills, and come back after the game. We will do the Chiefs Zone podcast live, win or lose, and I'm expecting a win, but regardless of the outcome, I want to hear from every single one of you in the comments. Also, we'll have the link for the video calls. All you have to do is click the link, turn on your audio and your video on your phone, your computer, or your tablet, whatever it is you're going to be using to call in. I want to hear from all of you guys today after the game, because this is going to be a big one, and it's going to have some very heavy playoff implications, especially for the number one seed. And again, we'll see what happens in Baltimore. Is the game in Baltimore or is it in Pittsburgh? Because that is the one that I'm going to be watching at 12 o'clock. I'm sure a lot of you guys will also. Let's see. Where is that game? That is in Pittsburgh. So, yeah, I think Pittsburgh's going to win that game. Listen, I just like Pittsburgh a lot, but I hope I'm wrong. We'll see. All right, guys. I'm Farzin Vasugian. Thank you for joining me for this pregame live chat. I'm out of here. Peace out. Enjoy the game.